JBM from VillainNews going to talk about the latest on the franchise of the girl with the dragon tattoo, Americanized version from Sony Pictures. As you might already know, going into this is based off the series of novels from the Swedish author Stag Larsson, and then they did the films, the European films, and then they did the Americanized version with Sony Pictures, like I was saying, that came out in December 2011. Now, for the sequel, which is based on the second novel, which they still plan on making their own version adaptation of it, which is The Girl Who Played with Fire, it apparently involves a scheme of them hacking a system of internet sex trafficking involved. That's the main plot line for this. And but there's a number of different factors why this isn't even scheduled for production, scheduled for filming. But Sony Pictures and THR recently did an article updating the status of this franchise and the status of the sequel. They still plan on making a sequel, but they plan on spending less money. Apparently they spent $90 million on the first one. And the sequel, The Girl Who Played with Fire, the script is already ready for production from Steve Zaillian, but apparently Sony Pictures, apparently the script calls for a bigger budget in a grander scale, and that's not what Sony Pictures wants to go for, like I was saying. Also, the director David Fincher, he just recently signed on to a Fox movie, another novel adaptation called Gone Girl. I think that's about an abduction ransom case thriller. I'm not sure. I think I read an article on it, but you could look it up, David Fincher, Gone Girl, and Google search if you want to know more on that. And he was also attached to the 20,000 Leagues reboot that's been in development for a while. There was a script, and then there was a rewrite on the script. And apparently what's holding up that is also the budget, how much they want to spend on that movie, because that's going to be a huge budget, big budget film. And he obviously has a love for that franchise, and he wants to make or direct that film. Also, the other factors include Daniel Craig apparently wants a raise, even though the studio has options for him to be in the sequels. He doesn't have a right to be in the sequels, so they could even write him out, potentially, is what they were saying, that the Daniel Craig character wouldn't even return. Which is plausible because Rooney Mara, the girl with the dragon tattoo, is obviously the featured character. But Daniel Craig's character is featured heavily in the book, but like I was saying, they do their own version, their own adaptation of the book. That's pretty much all the latest on this franchise that I have to say for right now. Any more updates, I'll do another updated video probably in a few months, unless there's big news on it. This was JBM from VillainNews. I'm out.